Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the podcast Innovation in Action. We have Emine. She is the founder and CEO of ITT Nexus, and I'm your host, Mohammad Arshad Ahmed. Today's guest is someone who is work is creating a ripple effect in the innovation and transformation space across multiple regions. Emine, the founder and CEO of IT Nexus, is a visionary strategist with over 19 years of global leadership in corporate strategy, merger and acquisitions, and digital transformation, having led high impact initiatives across Fortune 100 companies. She is also an entrepreneur who has built tech startups in education, health, and digital commerce. As a founder and CEO of IT Nexus and Accelerate EMEA, she drives innovation strategies and ethical AI ecosystem. She is also currently building ITT Nexus, a think tank focused on advancing the region's innovation index, a global thought leader, adjunct professor, and a mentor. Emini is committed to shaping the future through innovation, inclusive growth, and youth empowerment. Emini, it's a true pleasure to have you here today. And to begin with, the broader picture that we all are talking about IT, AI, innovation, you had a front row seat in watching the tech and AI system evolve in this region. Governments are pushing bold digital agendas, startups are thriving, but real transformation takes more than a momentum. How would you describe the current state of innovation ecosystem in the region and what's still missing?
So thank you, Mohammed. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm really looking forward to our discussion related to innovation in the region and globally, how we are innovating and better in the innovation in the region and in globally. So when we compare region with the other global companies, we need to understand the big picture, first of all. In the global, we have Global Innovation Index, and we are measuring countries in different pillars. There is 80 pillars in the Global Innovation Index, and we will be talking deeply in this topic today as well. In the region, in the UAE, for example, in this country, we are leading in the Middle East, along with the Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the second, and UAE is the leading for innovation. Because in our ecosystem, we are agile. UAE is moving like private organization. It's top-down approach for the innovation, enabling all ecosystem, helping startups, helping institution, infrastructure, enabler. We call this innovation enablers. So what UAE does is enabling all the requirements for innovations so that we can have outputs, innovation outputs. These are mostly in technology and knowledge outputs and creative outputs. But input for innovation enabler, for example, we have talent and skills. In the UAE, we have universities and academia and government initiatives like Dubai Future Foundations, ADGM, and Hub 71. They are actively investing in youth empowerment and upskilling youth. They are providing and creating strategic partnership with global organizations like UN, United Nations, and private organizations in fintech, in healthcare, in gaming to enable upskill the youth. So what we can say in the region, we are lucky to be in the UAE because we have visionary government, which is enabling innovation ecosystem. They understand the institutions, infrastructures, human capital, market sophistications, and business sophistications. They understand these enablers for innovations to create more output in technology, more output in knowledge, more output in innovation, and more output in the creative sectors. Why these are important and why this UAE government focusing on this area? Because they are very much aware of that. Globally, Global Innovation Index ranking countries with key pillars. These are inputs and outputs. Inputs, basically, we were saying enablers, and outputs is what we are doing with these enablers, what we have in hand as an enablers, an ecosystem, environment, how we can use that solutions, that environment to create more outputs. So we are very much aware of that. When it comes to talent, it's very attractive in regional because we have so many, as you know, Indian talent, Indian tech talent in this country. And we are attractive from the Europe and US because countries management, enabling all the private entrepreneurship areas, they are creating new system and they are agile, changing. The new initiative, which was a couple of months ago. For example, if you set up his own company as an entrepreneur, now you are able to do trade and serve your solutions into mainland area as well. This is one of the agile approach. So they are evolving, they are listening environment, ecosystem, and they're taking very quick action. The agile government, being agile government is one of the lucky things in globally, because this means UAE can increase its global innovation ranking. Even it's leading in the region, they can increase its global innovation ranking in very short time. So when we compare other countries like India and Saudi Arabia, yes, UAE again leading the way as an innovation ecosystem, and it's an example.
Thank you for the elaborate explanation about the ecosystem. And you were mentioning about ITT Nexus, the think tank, which you have launched to bridge the gap between academia, regulators, and the industry. This isn't just theoretical, it's a bold attempt to shape policy, innovation, and collaboration in a cohesive way. Can you tell us more about the vision behind ITT Nexus? What gaps are you aiming to fill through this think tank, and how do you see it influencing National Innovation Index scores in the future?
The vision behind it, actually, I was curious about if this innovation between the countries or among the countries globally, how it's measured, if it's measured, how we can compare one country, if it's leading the way and one is in the middle, and who are the lagging, what are the reasons? So I investigated and I faced one of the solutions, which is Global Innovation Index by World Intellectual Property Organization, and they are evaluating more than 160 countries, 130 or 160 countries. And they have 80 pillars, which are inputs and outputs. I was talking about the UAE. I touched slightly on this inputs and outputs. And they are measuring, assessing countries to understand and evaluate and compare the innovation capabilities and performance of world economies. So this is developed by the World Intellectual Property Organizations. It's a comprehensive framework with the 80 indicators. So how countries foster and produce innovation. This has two main sub-indexes. The first one, the innovation input sub-index, and the second one is innovation output sub-index. Innovation input sub-index basically measures factors that enables innovation, that we're talking, grouped into 5 enablers pillars. So these are the enablers, innovation enablers, and we have 5 pillars. The first one is institutions. What do we mean by institutions? Institution, for example, quality of governance, regulatory environment, and political stability. So we are comparing all the countries included in this index. And second one is human capital and research, where education, R&Ds, research and development, and availability of skilled workers. And third one is infrastructure, where communication technologies, transportation technologies, energy business, and ecological sustainable solutions that we are evaluating, assessing, and comparing with other countries. Another one is market sophistications. What do we mean by market sophistications? It is frictionless, smooth market activities. If you need credit, if you need investment, fund, or trade and market conditions, we need to do this frictionless and smooth. Business sophistication is the last one as an enabler, innovation enabler, and this is basically means that firm capabilities, like the country's capabilities, we have firm capabilities. These are the knowledge worker within the firm, innovation linkages, and knowledge absorbations. This is not only absorption of knowledge, but also how do we use the knowledge to innovate and to create more value. So these are the 5 pillars as an innovation input sub-index. We call them, this is the innovation enablers. If we have innovation enablers, then it is easy to innovate faster, which is innovation output. It can lead the innovation output. And we need to provide the linkage between that innovation enablers and innovation output. If there is really a balance between that, if we invested more in innovation enablers And we need to compare the output with the other countries. They are doing the same investment and same level of accelerations in the inputs if they have same level output. So what we have in the innovation output subindex, this is captures the result of innovation activities. This is grouped into two pillars. The first one is knowledge outputs and technology output. This is the first group, knowledge and technology output, which is patent, scientific publications, high technology export, and knowledge diffusions. What do we mean by patent? So if you need patents, you need more researcher. You need more active researcher in the academia who are publishing more paper, which it can turn into patents, which is intellectual property, but it cannot stop there. It is the ability to turn this IP into innovation and innovative product. So this is very important. And the second one as an output is creative output. This is intangible assets, creative goods and services, and online creativity. This creative output, one of the best examples for the UAE is last year it was very famous. For example, we can give as an example for creative goods is Dubai chocolate. It was so creative. It's comparing chocolate with the kunafe and created new brand and new name, which was the creative goods for the Dubai, and it was promoting Dubai. So this is one of the examples. It doesn't have to be very innovation breakthrough or knowledge breakthrough. So you can create something in the creative outputs, which can also contribute countries' innovation index globally. So the overall global innovation index score is the leverage of the input and output indices. So the linkage between output and input, as we said. So why some countries leading and other countries lagging? And for example, the countries who are leading, one of the country is Switzerland. This is leading global innovation index back-to-back for 14 years. So we need to understand why this country and leading many of the pillars, not only one pillars, why this country is leading. Is there any connection between economic development of the country and innovation development? So we need to understand and ask questions to interrelated areas that we understand. So United States, Singapore, and South Korea, these are the countries leading in the global innovation index ranking. So their leadership driven by strong institutions. First of all, the enablers, innovation enablers, which are strong institutions and high investment R&D and educations. So they have research and development. They are producing more patents, publishing more paper, which can turn into IP, intellectual property, and those IPs can turn into innovation as well. And robust infrastructure and digital connectivity. So infrastructure, when we mean by that, it's communication industry, it's energy industry, it's transportation industry is very well and sophisticated. So sophisticated financial market and business environment, of course, frictionless, smooth business activities, accessing to fund, accessing to investors, accessing to government organizations, and finding the area of collaboration, which implies the sophisticated financial market and business environment. And effective transformation of innovation inputs into output. So this is, for me, is the most important part, because the innovation think tank, which is ITT Nexus, Innovation, Technology, and Transformation Nexus, is basically focused on this one, effective transformation of innovation inputs, enablers, into output, which is patent, product, and creative works. How we can connect this input enablers with the output that we can leverage output in terms of input. Because in the UAE, we have enormous investment into input, and this country is innovation enabler. So we have all institution, infrastructure, and all the investment in the education and in business area, because we have so many capital firm here to access the funds. How we can enable this, how we can help them to enable this connection between inputs, enablers, and outputs. This is the main idea. For example, I talk about Switzerland. It is last 14 years. It is the first country in the global innovation index and ranking knowledge and technology output, as well as creative outputs. So we mentioned Dubai chocolate as a creative output in the UAE, and maintaining top position in the most of the other pillars. So we mentioned that 80 pillars we have in this index. But what about then? These are the countries, the first countries, leading countries, is really economically good countries. So what about the middle income countries? Why they are in the middle? So middle income countries, like we can call in this region, Malaysia, Vietnam, and India, and China in this group last year. These are often occupy the middle ranks in the Global Innovation Index because progress in education, policy and reforms, and infrastructure, these areas mostly enablers, innovation enablers, but not yet at the level of high-income countries like Switzerland, US, and Singapore. So growing research and development investment and innovation ecosystem is the other pillar, but this is often with gaps in quality or scale. And the last one we can call challenges in fully converting inputs into high value outputs. So this is the most important problem that we are focusing in ITT Nexus as well. This challenge, fully converting inputs, innovation enablers, into high value outputs, which is technology, innovation, and creative outputs, such as global patents or high-tech exports. So China and Malaysia have made significant investment by focusing on long-term investment in human capital, research, and business sophistication. And last year in China, we remember that DeepSeek impact on the industry that we were talking about. Remember, Mohammed, OpenAI, and it was more effectively develop their business, more economically effective business. And it shake the world. So China is again started in the middle income countries level. It is leading, and we will see more impact in coming years. It will be the most important rival with the US in terms of innovation and innovation index. And talk about the lagging countries. Lastly, these are the lagging countries. The key challenges: countries typically they have weak institutional framework and governance. Typically, they don't have enablers, innovation enablers that we call. They are underinvest in R&D and education. They have poor infrastructure and limited digital access, fragmented or unsupportive business environment, and difficulty in translating inputs into outputs. Of course, these lagging countries, one impact is income. It's high income or middle income or lower income, but also security in this country, and stability, political stability is another indicator for innovation index to attract investor and talent. So these are the key areas that I can mention for Global Innovation Index, and how we are enabling, how we are connecting this misjoin point with the enabler, innovation enablers, and innovation output as an ITT think tank. We are working with academia, researcher, to figure out their patent, their research, their paper, and then working with the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur will turn into his patent IP into innovation, and with the industry, we will solve the most critical problem with pilot project and increasing more communicated and strategic partnership to accelerate and contribute innovation index of the countries within the region. And we are based in UAE.
Yeah. So this is very important what you mentioned. There is a lot of input, but outcome has to be measured. So frameworks like these are very important. And what you mentioned about specifically about the China and DeepSeek effect, we see that a lot of innovations are going to come from the Asia side, wherein the cost of building these technologies are going to drastically reduce, and it is going to create a impact, efficient and effective impact. So there is a lot of things that can come from this region. And one more thing, that what we see for the innovation that you are saying as well, companies should focus, because the strength of this region is the Arabic language that they have. So a lot of innovation and companies are working to do something in that space, to use those models that are specifically developed from scratch for the Arabic language. And this is something that the lot of innovation will come and should come from this region. And whatever you are saying, a very good out how you can measure this, the dollars that you are putting in, what is the output, as you said, number of patents, the applications, uh, the global impact that is coming. This is very, very important. And just to put everything in action, what you mentioned right now about this global index and the digital maturity index, how can companies start doing this? Because we know that tech adoption is one piece of the puzzle, but this transformation requires cultural structure and leadership alignment. So this, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on practical applications of your vision, and how should leaders use this to assess their readiness and guide transformation efforts.
When it comes to industrial and business transformation and digital transformation, I have been working in large organizations during this transformation and change management and restructuring areas, and I witnessed many things. What's the impact? What has the most critical impact on digital transformation is human capital. It's not about technology. Technology comes the second. Because if you have the vision and culture who understand the technology, who understand the business and industry very well, and the technology's role that play in this industry, then they can adopt as a culture. Because sometimes we talk, okay, countries is top-down, but industry also, business, they should have top-down approach for the innovation culture. In the top level of management, the owner or the chairman of the business or CEO of the businesses always need to ask themselves, if I am innovative enough, if I'm really letting people in this company innovate more than their capacities. Because yes, we learn our capacities, we have our capacities, but in time we can learn, we can gain new skills, we can educate ourselves with the new tools and how to use that tools, and we can increase our capacity of innovation. So that's the point. If we have innovative mindset on the top of the company, like countries, we can resemble this to countries and innovation index, global innovation index. If that leader in the company has this mindset, it will lead in their industry. This company will lead in this industry. The most critical things, yes, human capital and culture. And Peter Drucker, one of the famous strategists at Harvard University, and I like reading his books, his famous quote, he says, culture eats strategy at breakfast. So which means our culture is more important than the strategy. Before we are drafting our strategy and roadmap, we need to evaluate our culture. What is our culture? Of course, the leaders' cultures really impact in the top down for the environment and other employees' culture. So first important, yes, it is people and human capital in the digital transformation, but how we are evaluating companies for digital transformation. What are the difference between the industry and other industry? Because we have spectrum. In digital transformation, the most digitalized companies or industries during the history, and the least one during the history, least one like law firm. If you're a lawyer, so far until AI, you are not digitize your company, right? But if you're a fintech company, or you are financial institutions or bank, or you're in the telecommunication sectors, you have to digitize and do innovate in this area in your company to serve better. So most digitized companies, industries in telecommunication, fintech, healthcare, it comes to least one in lawyer and law firm. But in AI, what happened? AI just closed the gaps. Because AI show us it can do many knowledge worker works in faster, in time zone, and more efficient and more accurate. So which means it's closing now. The spectrum gaps is closing. So to digitize and manage digital transformation better in the companies, we have different approach. We have McKinsey's approach, we have BCG's approach, but more or less they are the same. We have 5 or 6 pillars. In summary, we can say people, this is culture, foundation, HR capabilities, and analytics. We have customers because foundations offering experience and analytics, what the customer wants. If you are listening to the customer very well, like in Amazon, the empty chair, which is the customer in that meeting all the time, and we are trying to listen, and we are listening actively. Operations, these are the foundation process, industry 4.0, and analytics, and innovation, which is the foundation, ideal management, expansion, culture, data management, how we are managing our data, data biases, and governance, foundation, governance foundation, governance administrations, and performance, and again, analytics here. And we have technology, of course, foundational applications and infrastructure, data and analytics. So these are the pillars that we are checking. After we check culture, after we check if this company's leading management, chief management, and chairmen and chairwomen really does have innovative mindset, and they can lead this innovation, digital transformation in the correct way.
Thank you for this. And it's very important, as you mentioned, AI is actually uh, transforming a lot of industries, and we should take it positively. And this is a message, and not as a disruptor, but as an enabler for a lot of things that are there. And before we wrap up this session, I always ask my guest this question because we have a lot of young members in our community, a lot of young listeners who are going to and we need to, as you mentioned also today, that they are the future of whatever we are building. So, what advice would you give to these learners, the recent graduates or professionals pivoting into this space, those who want to play a role in shaping the innovation and digital transformation agenda? And how should they build the right foundation and the mindset to be part of this journey?
It depends on, I'll give some example and advices. It depends on the what journey and which path they want to follow. If they want to entrepreneur and build their own company, or if they want to be the corporate employee and continue their corporate professionals' lives. So in the corporate professionals' life, you have to update yourselves. There is no one can stay in the corporate so far if they don't understand technology, don't understand innovation, don't understand how to use these innovative tools. We need to understand how to use them, and we need to use most productive way. We may re-innovate these tools to create more productive than today and tomorrow. For the entrepreneur path, they have so much chance to disrupt many industries because, as I said, many companies have CEOs and top management. They are not innovative. They don't have that innovation mindset, and they are still moving slowly. But one day that maybe 18 years old, maybe 17 years old innovator and entrepreneur build one tool and disrupt entire incumbent industries. So they need to learn every day. They need to dare to build new things and dare to take risk. These are the advice I can give.
Yes, thanks. Thank you, Emine, for joining us. Your insights into innovation ecosystem, digital maturity, and ethical leaderships are incredible, valuable, and timely. To our listeners, whether you are a policymaker, innovator, founder, or learner, I hope today's discussion has sparked new ideas and inspiration. Follow Emine's work at the IT Nexus. You will want to stay connected to what's coming next. This has been Innovation in Action. I'm Mohammad Arshad, your host. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and keep innovating responsibly. Thank you very much.